What's up, race fans? It's 7 o'clock. It's Thursday, and it's time for the Thursday Night Throttle live on Top Row Racing Media, presented by ELH Detailing and Federated Auto Parts. This is your look ahead to the weekend events in the Top Row Racing network of tracks and your look around Michiana Motorsports. My name is Buju, live from Southland, Indiana, host of the Thursday Night Throttle and the Monday Night Rewind and the Bullring Chronicles and some other stuff. Alongside the man in the top row himself, Lewis Noakes. How are we doing today, Lewis?
Well, it's raining, so it's not Monday, but it's Thursday.
Yeah, it's not lightning, it must be Thursday.
It's not lightning thunder yet, but yeah, this, I don't know. I said earlier to Mom and Bob, I said, this feels like January with as cloudy as it's been this week. I said, if it weren't for the green that you just see all around, right? Obviously, we're still in the green time, but like if it weren't for trees and leaves and all these things looking lively, it would be January. So
it was a very sleepy. I feel like you can see it in my face.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a sleepy day. Yeah, just like you said, it feels like it's the middle of winter, even though it's the middle of a race week.
Yeah, well, and that's where definitely, want to send out this week. I mean, between Illinois with the Dureco that came through on Monday night or whenever it was. I don't even remember now. This week has just kind of been a blur.
I've been wondering how you pronounce that all week.
I think it's a Dureco. I think it's a Dureco. I don't know. Yeah. I've had a meteorologist, if they're watching, correct us. But
this is a racing show, not a weather show, despite all the weather we have.
Or is it Dureco? Is it Dureco, like what you just said?
It could be.
Maybe it's Dureco. It's something that's bad. How about that?
Yeah, a lot of rain and a lot of wind.
It's like a front-wheel drive D feature.
Yeah,
it comes with a lot of ugly, and that's, I mean, so Northwest Indiana absolutely just obliterated. I know even down, I mean, just central Indiana, they have historic flooding. They call it, like, I think it's 1,000-year flooding, they said, or generational flooding, something like that.
I'm sure people have seen the picture from Mount Lawn.
Mount Lawn. I know that's Ron Brash tagged me in something. And I mean, the water at that point was up almost over the whole entire wall. So, I mean, just crazy, right? And we've seen pictures like that before and videos like that before, but I mean, that's one thing. That's where tonight's schedule is a little loose and light, just because with rain chances tomorrow, we're in that railroad from the heat dome or something's going on over out west, where I hear a Spanish accent in my head. I think it's Dureco. I think you were right. Whatever. It's a weather term.
I don't know.
Yeah. You're probably right. I've probably said it wrong the whole time, but like I'm like
front-wheel drive. I'm not an expert.
Just imagine front-wheel drive D feature. That's what it is. A whole lot of ugly and a whole lot of bad all in one, and or even E feature. But but that's something that to Northwest Indiana. I mean, just if you can help a neighbor, help someone. I mean, they keep saying like Tornado Alley has shifted, where Illinois is like the winner this year. Illinois has more tornadoes this year than the whole West has, and that's crazy, right? And so, again, a lot of people being impacted, a lot of racetracks are being impacted, and we only have so few of those. So, definitely just keep everyone in your thoughts for that. And if there's places to help or do, certainly help and reach out, because it's been rough. But here we are, another race weekend, and rain chances in the forecast, thunderstorms in the forecast. It's just, I think they said, what we talked this about on Monday with Brian Kuseba, where it feels like it was over like 50-60% of the weeks in 2026 have had some kind of moisture as part of it. So
Friday tracks especially seem like this year.
Yep. And I can't remember I don't think Hartford races tomorrow. I actually, like I said, I didn't even bother to look at the schedule with the rain chances and the forecast, because there's just so much going on. But I know I have right now Corrigan Oil on my schedule for tomorrow, and I can't remember if Hartford does or not. I'm going to look really quick, because I know they have an event coming up, but I feel like that was last week that they had their event coming up, because August 14th. What's tomorrow? 14th. So they have Great Lakes Wings. Oh, I know why. So I didn't put it on my schedule because Great Lakes TV will be there. So then I won't be in the way, because they'll have streaming there. So that's why I don't have Hartford on my schedule. But I mean, I guess if I asked Hartford, I could go, but I'm not going to deal with that. So right now I have Corrigan Oil on my schedule because Tri-State Sprints are there and they're a huge marketing partner for me. And then I missed the Michigan Vintage Racers at New Paris earlier this year. So I thought, and it's the Michigan Vintage Racers, their last show of the year. So I figure I'll go, support them since I missed them out at New Paris. So yeah, it's a kind of a busy weekend, I guess. But like I said, with the rain, I'm like, with my chance, we're going to put a lot of work into this schedule, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow like I have other weekends and see canceled. It's like, okay, well, that just eliminated half that show.
Yeah, like I said, Fridays all year, it feels like they've been especially affected. But it's just been a tough, not only like just rain, but like you said, kind of crazy weather since the spring.
Yep. But one thing I do before, because that'll lead into our question of the night, but I do want to do a shout out. I don't know when this happened. YouTube just notified me today, but 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. I know that's like a small number compared to like Cletus McFarland, who had 3 times that watching his live stream in a race car the other day, but yesterday at Berlin. But for a small little media thing, 4,000 is pretty big on YouTube. So again, thank you to everyone who subscribes on YouTube. I'll be the first to say that I'm very poor at subscribing to things on YouTube, so I get it. Like, that's why
it takes me a while too to finally. Oh, I haven't hit that button
yet. So it's one of those that I just want to thank everyone who's done that, because again, I know that I watch things like there's channels I watch on YouTube, but I know I'm not subscribed to them, so I'm just as guilty as the rest. And and I know we've kind of talked about before where sometimes people are like, well, it's because you have ads in your videos, I'm not subscribed. And I'm like, the ads would be there even if I didn't have monetization on. Like YouTube would get 100% of the money. Now they get 40% of the money. Like they'd still get the money. Ads would be there whether it's monetized or not. I mean, it's just, you got 4,000, that obviously YouTube sees that as a channel that brings in viewers.
No, being on this side of things, I've learned how hard it is to get views, and then those views funneling down into the small numbers turn into follows and subscribes. So that's it's impressive. So I headbutt this mic constantly. It's a problem for me. But congratulations, because it is an accomplishment. Like I said, it's a grind to get there. So it is. You should feel good about it. So congratulations.
I didn't even know. All of a sudden YouTube sent me a notification, congratulations on 4,000 followers. I went, oh, when did that happen? The last time I looked, it was like 3,600. So I'm like, cool. Like, I didn't know that was coming. So it was a really big surprise to me, where Facebook obviously is the mothership. So I pay attention to Facebook, where YouTube is the library, right? That's where everything goes. But obviously the important things go on YouTube in that sense, the whole races and all that. But still, it's like Facebook helps funnel all that. So I've always wondered, like, man, how do I have such like a big Facebook following, but I can't convert that over to like a YouTube following? It would be nice. But again, 4,000, I'm definitely grateful for everyone who supported. Just because, again, you've been here since before day one. And so, we would be on one side of the fence, you'd be on the other, kind of talk about, man, I don't think everyone's going to follow me. Man, I don't think I'm going to get any followers. And, it's like all of a sudden, right? I mean, I don't think any of us, I mean, if we're speaking truthfully, right, I don't think any of us would have imagined it would, grow to where it has grown. So it wasn't, Kenny Head will go, well, what's your 5-year plan? I don't even know anymore. Like, I don't even know anymore.
Whatever happens, wherever the wind takes me.
I mean, 50,000 would be nice. I don't know, right? It's kind of the Facebook page is kind of plateaued a little bit this year compared to past year's growth. It's still growing, but it's kind of like what we had with Kalamazoo. Like, Kalamazoo was trying to get to 50,000 for so long, where they were promoting it in the winter, and finally, I think June, it's just they get a few. And sometimes when I go to some tracks, I get those bots who start following, and I go and delete them. And like the one after Slinger, it was like 1,200 people I deleted. So it's like, I could leave them because that'd get me closer, but I'm like, but you're probably not authentic, so I don't really want you on my page. You might try to steal my page. So
It's also easy to forget how small overall the racing world is at the end of the day too. Like
Yeah.
we live
Yep.
in a very niche part of the of the
Yes.
sports
Yep.
world at that. So
Yep.
yeah, like I said, scraping out those numbers is hard sometimes. So like I said, getting to any milestone is impressive. So
Oh yeah, no. So again, thank you to everyone. But to unpin from what we were talking about, two questions. Are you tired of the rain yet? Is one. So you
yes.
certainly can comment on that. I mean, I know we had droughty kind of things going on. Like I know we need the rain, but when there's so much rain, I mean, some parts of Indiana are going to have almost 10, what was it, like 8 inches of rain, and that's just
Mhm.
crazy to think about. But then two, one thing that this was a question that was sent in to us and they didn't want to be identified. So I respected that. But they wanted us to ask, have entry lists leading up to a big event past their useful life, or do you still find them to be really helpful? And does the list determine whether you're going or not if a certain name or two is not on the list? And so I thought I would include that, as part of our thing. Because I know we've kind of talked about it before about like entry lists. And I know this person who sent it to us they wondered why New Paris didn't put an entry list out. And then they also then said in their email, they said, but then, the Clash had, or not the Clash, excuse me, although the Clash is doing one. Hot Shoe had an entry list of like 53 modifieds, but then only
Mhm.
got 36 of those. And only is not a slight. 36
Mhm.
modifieds is still a lot of
No,
modifieds.
yeah, absolutely.
And they only needed 24. That's all you
Mhm.
need. You
Yeah.
only needed an A feature. You didn't need all the bells and whistles beyond that, right? Just like New Paris, it's like you only need 36 street stocks. Yeah, more is great, but you only need to fill 2 A features. You don't need a B feature. It'd be nice.
Mhm.
It'd be really nice to have 2 B features, right? Maybe a
Mhm.
C feature. I don't know, but we're just kind of in an economic reality right now. So I know some people went to social media almost right away. It was actually sad to see. I mean, really sad to see where only 36, only
Yeah.
36 is still good.
A
Like
lot.
what more, like, what do you want? Like,
Yeah.
but so what do you think because you see it more in asphalt
Mhm.
than you do in dirt. And we've kind of talked a little bit about that before, where asphalt seems to kind of do things in a traditionalist way, where dirt has kind of advanced with the times and trying
Yep.
to be hip and cool, where asphalt, you still got, well, back in the day when I watched it in 1982,
Yeah.
okay, well, it's 2026. That was a long
Mhm.
time ago. Car safety has changed. One, and,
Yeah.
race
Mhm.
cars have changed. We probably don't even call it that same class anymore. So,
Yeah.
and we know like that hobby stock is now like a super fast late model, like
Mhm.
whatever maybe. So, what do you think? Like I said, I'm not a big entry list guy. I like what Drew's doing with the Kalamazoo page. Whereas pre-registrations come in, right? He's putting things out. And
Yeah.
then obviously, we did some extra special things for Flagger Boy, but that was not an entry list. That was just those
Yeah.
on social media who
Yeah. This
engaged.
this
So,
person, yeah, confirmed entry as
yep,
opposed to yeah.
yep. So, what do you think?
To me, like, it's not a deal breaker to me. I would like, if there's a list there, I'm certainly gonna peruse through and use it to my advantage, I guess. But, like, if it if you know it's a big race, but, like, using the Flagger Boy, for example, I feel like you have a good idea of who's going to be there. Maybe
Hmm.
there's gonna be some names missing, maybe there's not, but in living in reality in 2026, it's hard to get to the racetrack. So it's not necessarily all that easy to confirm ahead of time that
Right,
someone is
right.
going to be there. So, I mean, that plays a factor as well, and you mentioned the dirt side of things. I do feel like you see entry lists on the dirt side, but it's for the monster races like the Dome
Yeah, the dome.
or the
Yep.
Dream or, the World 100. Um so maybe and like at on the asphalt side, like when I went to the All American 400 in Nashville, I would feel like it was weird if there was no entry list for a race like that. But if I'm going to a Friday night, Saturday night track with, um, and some of these are outside sanctioning bodies or whatever, but I feel like a Friday, Saturday night show is a little different than, your major touring series like an All American 400
Yep.
or those big dirt races are.
Well, sometimes with those touring series too, like Reveal the Hammer, you pretty much know who's competing for
Yeah.
points and all that. And so, if they put like a list out
If
there,
if anything, I kinda like showing up to the racetrack and being surprised at who showed
right.
up, you know?
Yeah, who was it at Flagger Boy that they pulled in? I can't think now. They pulled in. I went, oh, okay. Wasn't expecting that one. And oh, who was it? I can't remember who it was now. But when they pulled in and they were there, I went, oh, okay. Didn't know you were coming. And I thought that was pretty cool. I passed them on the highway, you know, and but it's early enough where they could have taken an exit to go somewhere else. And I'm like, well, no, that truck's not racing today. So they can't be going. They have to be going the same way I'm going because they're not going opposite direction. Like I saw some trailers going opposite direction to M40. But yeah, you know, even like Chris and I talked last week, and you know, they obviously had an idea of how many street stocks they would want for Flagger Boy. And I said, you know, there's just kind of like, you know, because a few years ago they had over 70. I'm like, that's going to be hard to get to, right? That would be really awesome. But I, you know, think 40, 45, you know, somewhere in there is going to be just great because again, you only need a 36. And 36 is still really good if you look at all the talent we had. I mean, just one feature had all the Maynards that I think have had a steering wheel, you know, that are still active racing. And, you know, it's like, man, just the talent you have, right? 36 is still a great field. And we ended up with 42 or 43. And I'm like, that's about probably where we would have been. Because I know, like, not last year, but it was the year before, M40 took off. They didn't have street stocks at night. So they could go to Flagger Boy just because of the year before, right? The year before was in like 2023 was the 70s. And most M40 street stocks stayed at M40. Like they didn't want to go to Flagger Boy, not because they don't support Flagger Boy. They just wanted to be at M40, right? And so then M40 decided to keep street stocks on their schedule. And if you look at who raced at M40, most of those cars probably weren't going to come down to Flagger Boy anyways, because they hadn't come to Flagger Boy, or they did once in a, you know, Blue Moon. So so I think, as you said, we pretty much got who we probably would have expected. Definitely the Lorain, Ohio show, you know, Lorain Raceway Park launched. We have Randy Maggio on Monday to talk all about Lorain Raceway Park for the Northeast Ohio scene. But they had tons of street stocks and tons of modifieds who probably would have gone a hot shoe and probably would have come to Flagger Boy, who stayed home because, I mean, that grandstand was full. I mean, it's sold out, you know, or close to sold out, and they had a lot of cars, right? So I think it's one of those that they just had like a perfect storm in Ohio, where a lot of those guys have been homeless this year. They've not had anywhere to go. They've not had anywhere to race. So, so that's where I definitely think it hurts. But, you know, I've never been, you know, like we've talked about before, I'm not a big car count guy. I don't, you know, if you put 2 Adam Terrys on the track, or, you know, you take Bob Vila and Tim Allen and put them on the track, right? You know, put them in a street stock or put them in a super late model, 2 Adam Terrys or 20 Tim Allens. I don't know, like, people might like the 20 Tim Allens because, you know, it's going to be a wreck fest, but then what are they going to do on social media? They're instead going to go to social media and go, this was a yeah, that's what you wanted. You wanted that. You know, you didn't want quality, you wanted quantity, and now you're online complaining because you think it was a shit show. So you you got the Christmas gift you wanted. So there you go.
And this, I mean, kind of the ultimate lesson in the thing is, like, kind of just find what your flavor is. I mean, you're gonna be able to figure out what your shows are and where you want to be, kind of, if you look enough. So I mean, an entry list to me at the end of the day is not a deal breaker. If there's one out there, sure, I enjoy looking at them. But like I said, if the track doesn't post an entry list, I'm not throwing stuff against the wall and saying I'm not going to the
complaining
show
about it. Yeah. Well, and that's, again, and if you just base it on that, right? Like, there was someone who commented, oh, this, was it on a reveal post, or might have been a CRA post, where someone commented, well, I'm not going to this show because they listed like 2 names that aren't going. I'm like, I mean, it's cool, but but there's a lot of other good names on that list. Like, you know, that would bring a lot of people to any other track. So it's like, I get it, but, you know, sometimes if there's not a name on the list, that might bring more people, right? You know, so sometimes you do have that too. But again, that's where I thought they sent that in. And again, if you want to know how you can send your questions in, you can email it. That's where I rather keep these, because I'm flagging them so I can keep going back in and bring them. I have one more already set up. We don't have a show next week because we have the Clash on Wednesday, and I already know I'm going to be nose deep into editing, so we're not doing a show next Thursday. But so for the following Thursday, I have a question already, but definitely if it depending on the topic you send in, you can send in a question and we can include that. Someone else did put, "Are you tired of the rain yet?" Because they know that the schedule this weekend just is not looking great, and so they're bummed because they are going to Corrigan tomorrow for the first time as a fan. They're not racing; they're going as a fan, but they're like, "I don't know, with this rain, we might not even get to go." And obviously, got Berlin's big show with Cletus, who I know has been all over social media today with because of an onboard view. And if you like Angry Grandma's Facebook page, they did go-kart racing where she flipped off Jacob a lot. So I'm like, oh, that's like a track on the that I watched last night. But again, so definitely send in your questions. I figure with this part we could put a pin in that and kind of again, I didn't make it a schedule. I do want to highlight some specific events, but with the rain and the flooding and all that, I don't know what it's going to look like. So again, by the time someone listens to this tomorrow or whenever they may listen to it, it's like it's the information already outdated. So I always use my race pass to create our schedule. That's where I go to. Most tracks are on my race pass. But as we covered, Great Lakes Super Sprints are at Hartford tomorrow. So definitely, if you want to go support Tim and Leah, I highly encourage that. They have Super Troopers and their cyber stocks, and their championship is coming up pretty quickly too. But they've been just pummeled this year by weather. So so definitely go out and support them. Corrigan Oil, obviously, tomorrow we have already talked about, has Tri-State Sprints, and they will also have the Michigan Vintage Racers and then the ABC front wheel drives and mini wedges. So you can get out and support them. Remember, Corrigan Oil does twin features. Then obviously there's no Kalamazoo tomorrow. Kalamazoo is off because they have Clash next week. So and they just came off a hot shoe, so this kind of gives them a week to breathe. And then so Saturday, obviously, you have Galesburg that's running for Senate Saturdays against. Go support them. They need all the help they can get over there too. And then New Paris is where I'll be with their Night of Destruction. So I'm excited. I've been calling it Destruct and Chill this week. So, just to put some things out there. So, and it's autograph night for the Night of Destruction. The next one won't be until October, where they do like the trunk or treating and all that. So if you want to go and see your favorite, I still call them race drivers on Saturday for the Night of Destruction. Cause I mean, let's face it, they're helping keep that track open. Let's just be real. Yeah. And some of them are racer racers, but I count them as racers. They put on a show too, just like any other card. They just maybe have a different budget than the rest, but it is autograph night for them. So you can go out and see all your favorite cars and stars, including, again, if you've not met the female drivers out there who are putting on a show like Alyssa Chapman, Tori Stanley, Megan Richardson, who I think I saw in the chat area, Tabitha DeWitt. Oh my gosh, she was on their team with Tabitha. Why can't I remember her name right now? I feel so bad now. But again, there's just tons of them. I mean, Coneheads have tons of drivers. Oreo, Mitchell Stark and Todd Cooley and all of them. Come out and see those guys. And then obviously M40 has a doubleheader weekend too. They have their show on Saturday which is also featuring the Down syndrome race, the Woody's Down syndrome race, and then Van Avery Memorial. That's what is at I thought for some reason I had it in my head for next week, but Van Avery Memorial is the rescheduled from August 1st. So if you have nothing to do in this area, go to Galesburg. They have the because obviously we lost Adam a few years ago, and then we lost
Jesse.
No.
I can't. Yeah, I'm blanking.
Why can't I think?
Brad.
Also names Brad Van Avery. Yeah, because Brad was a big supporter. He's a big reason why Top Row got to Galesburg. So with Brad and Van Avery. So get out and support them. And I'm bad with names today. Like I said, I don't know.
Sleepy day.
Yeah. But get out and support them with the Van Avery race. I know it's big money on the line as they honor that for the street stock. So that kind of reminds me, I haven't seen a street stock list for this event this week. I might have missed it, but I know we've been focusing on Ravers Rumble. And then Sunday, come out to M40 if you found a flyer somewhere that has Johnny's face all over it, you get $5 off the ticket. But it'd be $15 if you have that flyer. But if you don't have that flyer, it's $20 to get in. And they already have a camper ready to go. If you've not seen a Night Destruction at M40, they're building it. So again, give them time to establish this. They got Frank Gasco and team who are behind this. Jeremy Templeton. There's not a shortage of experts. And obviously, and Johnny, used to do crashing and bashing all the time too. So, in fact, he took down one of the walls at Kalamazoo one time. So with a bus. So, they definitely know what they're doing. So get out and support M40 on Sunday and give their Night of Destruction a chance. Just because, again, they're building it. It's not like New Paris where it's been established and they have a brand. I mean, it's a brand, but give them a chance.
What a world the Night of Destruction world is, where Frank and Jeremy get to be experts in something.
Oh, I know, but well, if they were on, they would definitely not take credit. It is a team effort, but obviously those two brains together, right? Which I know is questionable on most days, but in fact, Johnny was doing 2 truths and a lie, and I read one of Jeremy Templeton's things,
I saw that as well.
And I commented, I hope that cameraman thing isn't true, because then I don't know if I want to stand by you next time. So and I know he messaged me, but I won't say what's true or false from his thing. I don't know if they ever revealed it, but
statute of limitations.
Yeah. And those were fun to watch though, or read just to see the 2 truths and a lie, what people came up with. But I
haven't got to meet Jeremy yet. I hope to soon. But I will be at M40 Saturday for the Woody's Down syndrome race. As you mentioned. I'm looking forward to that a lot. We participated in it last year with our crew chief Zach, and to be honest, going into it, when it was brought up, the idea in our shop, I didn't really want to do it because how emotions can run high at the racetrack sometimes, and all that stuff. And I was unsure about the idea. But boy, was I wrong about it, because Zach was the absolute man when he was with us last year. Just made the whole day. Neither one of us had a great day in the race car. I don't even think I finished the feature. But I don't that's not what I remember. I remember hanging out with Zach all day.
Yep.
And that's what Saturday's going to be at M40, and that's what the day is all about. So it is a very cool day if you don't have plans. Otherwise, I'd like you to join me at M40 because, like I said, it's a really, really cool day with the National Compact Touring Series and Woody's Race for Down Syndrome. So check that out if you can. It's an awesome, awesome event. Highly recommend.
Well, and you get a chance, coming from someone who obviously lived in the special education world for a long time, right? It was always disappointing to me when, you came across adults mostly. It's not usually kids, but usually adults who, for whatever reason, I think a lot of it is don't understand. They don't understand the disability. They don't understand, like, if you have someone who has autism, right? Autism is so huge. There's not, like, you and I growing up, there was like 3 branches of autism. Now it's just autism because you have all these things in there. That's why they went to the infinity symbol, right? Like most places with autism now switched over to the infinity symbol, because there's so many possibilities rather than the puzzle piece where you have to fit in, to something. And so that's why when you see puzzle piece logos, a lot of times it's like, oh, they're old school, right? Because that's what it was. But the infinity symbol is the more recognized symbol of autism in today's world, just because it's not fitting into a piece, right? And so, a lot of times, or even with like emotional impairments, like there was at South Bend a few years ago, there was a kid who just absolutely lost their ever-loving mind because they were upset at something, right? And, the parents are doing their part, but you're other people around who are just moaning and complaining. And like, I get it, but it's like, what you don't understand is this kid was having like an emotional breakdown. And if you listen to the speech, not that speech is always the thing, but like in this person's case, they had a noticeable speech impairment where I'm like, there's something there, right? And so it's like, we got to give that kindness and grace. And so, because a lot of times, people with disabilities maybe don't always have the opportunities that others do, but you find some really incredibly talented people, whether they have Down syndrome or whether they have autism. I mean, there's I had a student one time who, had autism, and they could name like every planet,
Mm-hmm.
subplanets,
Mm-hmm.
moons, all these things in 4 different languages. And while 1+1 was difficult for them, they could do this, right?
Right.
And so, and then incredibly just creative and the things they
Mm-hmm.
can build and draw and do. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here struggling with stick figures, and they have like a lifelike person and
Mm-hmm.
that they drew like
Mm-hmm.
detailed. And so that's why I appreciate races like this where, and Woody was such an advocate for Down syndrome, but you really get a chance to peel the onion back and experience someone with Down syndrome who you probably have, like in everyday life, you probably don't get that opportunity where you can
Mm-hmm.
see like, hey, you know what? Yeah, they have a disability, but they're just as badass as the rest of us. And,
No, yeah,
and
and they almost like they enjoy life in such a
yes,
pure way
yes,
that it's
yep,
it's it's humbling it
yes.
humbles me, honestly. Yeah.
Well, and that's where, I was talking with someone the other day about, teaching again and all that. And there's like most counties have this, most states have this, where like in Michigan, we have ISDs, RISAs,
Mhm.
in Indiana, they're ISDs, where there's one where there's like a wing, it's Blossom Land. And there's a wing where, though every student in there is on like a feeding tube and has a nurse and, they have to have like diapers change and different things. And I'm like, I just cannot emotionally do that wing. Like,
Mhm.
I will help in like many of the other wings, but I cannot go in that wing
Mhm.
because it's just like it's emotional. Like
Mhm.
where there's people in that wing, teachers in that wing who are like, we would never do your job. Like
Mhm.
desk flying and
Yeah.
scissors flying and all these things. Like they're like, that's your road. This is our
Mhm.
road. And it's you got to have special people in those kind of spots, right, who can give all that love and care and be able to emotionally handle that because it's
Right.
emotional. And it's like, man, these some are young adults, some are kids.
Mhm.
They live life a completely different way than you see someone on Facebook
Mhm.
moaning, groaning, and complaining
Yeah.
about whatever. It's like
Yeah,
you just don't even
absolutely.
know, like,
Yeah.
right, like yeah, I'm sure that situation sucks, and I'm sure there's things like, but
Yeah.
as you said, humbling,
Mhm.
because like you can jump in a car, you don't have to worry about function
Mhm.
of your hands or
Yeah.
legs or
Yeah.
mind to understand and process
Right.
things, right? Like you go, you do your daily thing, you go super
Mhm.
speed, you do whatever, where, that again, that's why I appreciate things
Right.
like this because people get to experience like maybe they had prejudice, not like racist prejudice,
Yeah.
like prejudice is prejudgment. Like
Right.
you have prejudgment to a situation that makes you prejudice.
Right.
Um, and you might think something of a disability or think something of a person, but quite frankly, there's a lot of people walking around in today's world, and even at the racetrack, who have disabilities that you would never even know because no one's
Mhm.
wearing a stamp. But
Yeah.
Down syndrome obviously is one of those kind of disabilities that
Mhm.
most cases you can
Yeah.
tell, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay, I know
Yeah.
something, right?
Mhm.
And but you have to be ready for emotional outbursts. You have to be ready for
Right.
random screaming, possibly. You have to be ready
Sure.
for questions and questions and questions, right? And some
Mhm.
people don't have the patience for that.
Mhm.
But again, this is an experience where you can just experience life in someone else's shoes a little bit,
Yeah.
and they get to experience your life. So
Yeah.
again, that's why I appreciate these kind of events.
Yeah. I think Zach might have set a record last year for saying "That's awesome" in
Yeah,
a
yep,
day. So that
yep,
yeah, like I said, it was just, something that is going to stay with me for as long as I can remember it because, yeah, just a special day with a really cool kid, and we were just one of many teams that did it. So, like I said,
yep.
Saturday's an awesome show from the National Compact Touring Series at M40. So, check it out if you can.
And it gives you a chance too, if something goes wrong on the track, to be like, I'm being watched.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Because now you really know you're being watched,
yeah.
right? And
Uh,
it's one of those that you have so many people who are watching from the stands that it's a reminder of, yes, we're there to put on a show. Yes, emotions get high. Yes, all these things, but there's people who are going to be influenced by that, in the stands. And so it's always a great reminder. But again, I'm glad that you kind of came the corner on that. And I'm not
mhm.
saying you had like prejudice to a
Right. No, yeah,
situation,
yeah.
but I know at Springport a few years ago, there were some teams that were super hesitant and they kind of explained why. But I was there and I kind of talked out like, here's what you would get out of something like
Yeah.
this without even knowing the program. But like
Mhm.
working with someone who has a disability, like they might see something where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like
Mhm.
what? And like, because again, they're going to have some kind of genius, right? They're going to have
Mhm.
something and they might have a parent who does engines, and they might be
Yeah.
able to like tell you different things. So again,
Mhm.
you get to educate them on the short track world,
Mhm.
because sometimes, you know, they don't
Yeah,
get a
and
chance to go out a lot.
our crew chief Zach's brother last year, I can't remember his name, I'm spacing it right now, but he took up I mean, he was interested in short track racing when the
Yep.
day was over, which that made my day as well, and, like,
Yep.
that's the whole reason we're doing what we're doing here, so,
Yep.
yeah, it's just a cool family, and then it's the Race for Down Syndrome Family Day as well, so it's about the whole all
Abs-
families, at
absolutely.
M40 this weekend, so if you do have a family and you wanna bring the kids out, this is a good weekend to do it at M40 as well.
Yep. And their concessions. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
just that alone is a selling
Yeah.
point. But um, while we're at the 7:30 mark, so before we get too far, I do want to do the reminder too of the Monday Night Rewind. Again, we do have Randy Maggio. I'm waiting on one other confirmation with the Kalamazoo Clash coming up next week. I'm trying to get some Clash heavy names on. But I know it's Monday and schedules. It's a thing. But I do know at 8 o'clock we will have Randy Maggio on from Lorraine Raceway Park and in Ohio. So he will be talking about the Trident and the Jackpot, which are their big races out there, and then their end of season cavalcade. And then just because we're at that almost 7:40 mark, Bougie, if you're ready, we can unpin. We pin and we can unpin and come back to that conversation. But
Sure.
just looking at time, I want to make sure that I get these in before we forget. But Driver Spotlight, this segment is brought to you by Sabrina BB Photography. And so they're rolling and they're trickling in. This is my picked one, just from last Saturday at Flagger Boy, because I felt this person was very deserving. But again, driver of the week, you know, each Thursday that we have a show, we'll spotlight the top of racing media driver of the week. Of course, again, sponsored by Sabrina BB's Photography. So email us driver nominations with helpful information that we can read with the spotlight shout out. So again, this is open to any track, it could be a night instruction racer, it can be whatever, right? So media at topracingmedia.com. And so the person, Buju, do you have a guess? It is a driver who was a street stock racer on Saturday at Flagger Boy, and they were in the Jake. No, the Danny.
Then you just eliminated my guess. My guess was in the Jake, so no, I don't.
Oh, maybe hold on. No, I want to make sure. I might be saying that wrong. Let me
The
do a
Jake was
double.
first.
Yep, Jake was first. So I want to make sure that I say this right, because maybe they were in the Jake. Let's go here.
I remember the car being on the track in the daytime, so I'm pretty sure the driver I'm thinking of
Yeah.
was in
So
the
let me do a
Jake.
double check. No, they were the Danny.
Okay, so yeah, not my guess, but
Okay. So who would have been your guess?
Hambone.
Oh, he was next. He was
Okay.
one that I wanted to do a shout out to, just because the guy loves life. You know,
Hambone made the show, man. I was fired up for
yeah,
Hambone. Yeah, like you said, he's like he's always happy to be there. You need more guys
yes,
like Hambone. Hambone
yeah,
rules. I
yeah.
love Craig Johnson.
He's one of the ones, and he will get a spotlight because he's just someone that even when he has a rough night, right?
Yeah.
He comes around, he has a smile. I mean, he's just living life, and so he's definitely one of those drivers who stands out.
Mm-hmm.
But this person was also in the last chance race, so with Hambone. So our person, driver of the week, is Brianna Rumbaugh, and I did it one because she made the A, and they've had a lot of bad luck this year, and I know she didn't finish the Danny, but that team, if I don't know, you had a good view. I mean, just the stands, and I couldn't show because obviously the race was still going on, but I did afterwards. They just erupted, and even though I had my headphones on, I could hear it.
Yeah.
And I felt like, they've had blown engines, they've had different things this year that has just been one thing after another, after another, after another. And she had a really bad accident last year at Super Shoe, where she got hit hard in the turn 3 and 4. And so I felt, just for her to make that A after some of the things they've gone through this year, that I felt, she's very deserving of that. But again, Craig Johnson was definitely up there, and he will get one because, again, just his attitude towards things. And he made the A, and he was so happy to do that. Another one who definitely stood out to me, too, was Rich Bowl, just because obviously getting back into the car for the first time, and it was still a question mark. They still weren't sure day of whether
Yeah.
he was racing or not. So he had a backup driver who ended up going to M40. So then they had another driver who they're going to get who's already on the property. So I felt like, he was another one who was definitely on my list. And so I kind of, like I said, this was my nomination just because I felt like, in weighing everything, just to overcome the things that they did this year and the emotion that came with them qualifying. I felt bad for Lau. He had that. I'll go back to our thing here so we could see both of us. But he had second locked up, and if that caution had to come out, right, he probably would have advanced. And he kind of got washed up on the track. That outside lane just was having a really hard time on Saturday.
Yeah.
And so he kind of fell back after that restart. And I hadn't watched him race before. I know he's definitely
he's Angola. Okay.
Angola, yeah, he's an Angola heavy hitter, and he also has done Rumble in Fort Wayne in the past. He's also on my list for nominations just because I felt like too. And I saw some of it on the onboard camera. A lot of people went and talked with him after, because I'm sure that was just right. You're second this whole race. I mean, they weren't. I don't. Kyle, up to that point, I didn't know anything about him because he's a dirt racer, and so everything in my
uncle. Yeah, okay.
yeah, everything in my race pass shows dirt track racing, and so so it's kind of one of those, like, I don't know where he came from. I
assume he's related to Keith and or not Keith. Yeah, Keith, Kevin, and Kurt. I think used to be the Gunkles that raced in the Plymouth area, and New Paris, I think, a bit back in the day too. But yeah, I assumed he was related to them. That's where I related him from. But yeah, that's the first time I've seen him on the track as well.
Yeah, well, and he was already out to Angola by the time anyone was going to catch him, and so that's where everything was in second, third, fourth. That was the battle. So I felt bad for Lau, because it's like, man, if that caution had to come out, that race would have been so different. And he did a move where he lit up. He could have spun the guy. I mean, he could have just put him absolutely in the grass and gone to the back, but he lit up, and there's still battle. But that's where Brianna, she definitely took that opening, and that's where it's like, okay, things got exciting, because before that was kind of like single file racing, and it's like, okay, this is a check mark on tonight's list where okay, let's get this done, let's get it over with. Let's where other B features in the past there have not been like that, where they've definitely been, but once it became the battle for the transfer spots, like, okay, it got a little more exciting. It wasn't just
honestly, that was one of the more exciting last chance races that I've seen in like maybe ever. I didn't think about it until just now, really.
Yeah, it got exciting, right? Because
unfortunate for some people, but
because when you have, this even happened in the Howe Patio hustle last year at the Clash for the late models, right? Once Mark Shook got out, it was like then everything else was second on back, right? And you don't mind it, like, it's dominant, right? Like, you get that, and obviously the team put everything together to do that, so you don't discredit them, but you're like, okay, like, all right, this isn't like street stock battles like what we had between Austin Maynard and Logan Maynard, right? Where like, okay, who's going to do what, right? And then, there's a lap car coming. Well, Austin took care of that lap car. So, made sure that lap car wasn't a factor whatsoever. And I know, obviously, that also is controversial too. But it's not my call. So,
I'm not a race director.
No, I don't get paid to do that. And so, I thought, I thought that lap car was going to make it a little more interesting, and then it wasn't interesting whatsoever, because it was not a fact. It's like squishing a bug. Austin just literally squished a bug.
It seems like, well, this is going to be interesting. Oh, maybe it isn't.
Nope, squished it. Just absolutely crushed the bug. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, drama went out the window there. But other than that, right, there's still the restart, right? Logan had that.
It was a great race.
So with that feature, Josh Summers and Gage Harris, Gage Harris could have dumped him too. I saw people
he got sideways go and times and Gage lifted.
Yep. Gage didn't do that. And obviously they have a reputation too. They know that reputation, right? But they're good racers. Like, I get it. People don't like them, but
all wheelmen. No doubt they can drive the hell out of the race car.
They definitely leave it out on the track. And and he could have dumped him too, right? He could have just put Josh in and then he would have gone all the way to the back, but he lit up, he let Josh collect it, but that was a good battle, right? So it's like when you have those good battles, right, it makes it exciting. You're really into it. And you don't want a sleeper where it's like, okay, let's just get this over with. Let's get it done. We're just single file racing, check mark. Circle gets the square, move on, So for Brianna, again, she's super excited for her. And then, Kevin Grubb on here saying that he believes that Kyle raced his tree stock a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, Is
he related to Kevin and Kurt Gunkel? Kevin Grubb?
Yeah.
There's too many KGs in that,
let us know.
equation there. If you know Kevin, I assume he is. But
yeah, let us know, Junior. And then so next week I do want to do a reminder that next Thursday. Oh, hold on. Oh, we're gonna have to think of something. Because we were originally going to have Motorhead on next Thursday. Maybe I'll pre-record something.
Yeah, we'll
Benny, I'm at Corrigan tomorrow. We'll figure something out because with Clash next Wednesday, I keep forgetting Clash is on Wednesday. Not that I kept forgetting, but when we talk about having you on to advertise your Motorhead Miller Mafia race, in my head, I was just thinking of the weekend. I forgot Clash like at that time, but it's gonna be super busy. So he believes it's Keith's son. Okay. And you can see the comments. But so Benny, we'll talk tomorrow. But Motorhead Miller Mafia 1,000 to win ABC features at Corrigan for Harvest that Sunday. So we'll think of something to get Benny to do that, to advertise that. So that's what I was going to remind. Is that I almost said, and Benny will be joining us next Thursday. And it's like, wait, no, I already said we're not doing next Thursday just because there's a lot going on. But other than that, Bujo, I just shoot another blank.
I like that, man. Sleepy day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask for you if you had a driver that you wanted to shout out.
Hambone, like I said, that's my guy this week. Just a positive attitude all the time at the racetrack. Obviously, everybody has their moments, but I feel like in general, Hambone's always got a big smile on his face, and somebody you can talk to in the stop and talk to in the pits, and you're gonna have a good time for a few minutes talking to Hambone. So
his whole crew, they're all they're all fun, and that's where I got a chance to talk with them a little bit on Saturday too, and that's where it's like they're all just happy. I mean, they all just look happy, and and that's where Craig is one of those that there's drivers who can joke with, and you can rib a little bit, and they take it well because they get right back into it, right? So like when I was doing the one live, and then I turn, like, I don't know about this guy over here though, and big smile on his face, and even with the ham, they had the ham suit out there, and for autograph night and talking about them. And I'm like, so is he the bone to the ham? And again, that's where I appreciate, like, even on Saturday, there's a lot of drivers at New Paris who, for night instructions, you can joke around with, and it's very lighthearted and all that. And I look forward to those. And I have some, even on normal race nights, but normal race nights just feel like so uppity. And sometimes that's why I like night at instructions, because I don't have to be uppity, right? If I have a really poor time joke to go along with the car's graphics or whatever, like, I can say it, and because it's supposed to be said, it's supposed to be funny, right? There's different things where, like, on a normal race night, you're just kind of like, straight and narrow, and kind of operate within a certain way, and and sometimes that just gets, it's like, man,
and that's also what makes, like, a Super Shoe or a Bahama Brackets fun too, right?
Oh
it's a race night that kind of takes away the pressures of a points night, or a big show night.
Well, and I think that's sometimes, and I get it when drivers talk about that. That's the thing that I know, points racing, there's some who get so stressed by it. And like right now, M40 has a really good battle going on in the front wheel drive, or excuse me, extreme stock. Between Christian Hazley, who's now down a motor again, if I read correctly, and then Scott Gates, who's, I mean, he's just had all these issues too. And obviously I not only do I sponsor Scott Gates, but I also am friends with Scott Gates and Amanda, right? Like, we've hung out outside of racing. They know, like, when we're at the track during the day, this, we operate in the lane, But then afterwards, once the checker flag's done and we're just talking the pit area, then then it's a little different. But before that, neutral, they know I'm there, put on the camera, have small talk, move on, like I do with any driver when I'm having like I put a camera in and if they're not busy, we're having small talk or we're talking about whatever. But because then that's my chance to connect with drivers, right, too, at the same time. But then it's after the races, right? We can cut back, we can hang out. We've sat in the Love's parking lot for 2 hours talking, so obviously I'm rooting on, and I'm not an M40 videographer on a regular basis, so I feel like I can root them on, with Scott Gates there, and but the points are tight. There's 6 points now, and I don't know if that means it's locked up or not. I forget how their points works, but
I think M40 has a different point system.
Yeah, they have a completely different point system, and so someone explained it to me, and I don't remember what it is right now. But it's like, is there a chance? Yeah, is there a chance to maybe still chase for it? And so so that's where obviously I'm rooting him on, and that's nothing against Christian Hazley, right? Like Christian's a great driver, but obviously, as a sponsor, I have a vested interest in Scott and his success. But I know he's second in the points. But that's stressful, right? Because now tires and all these things going on. Where obviously, when you get to Super Shoe, points racing's done. It's over with. You're there for bragging rights and a party, right? Like Super Shoe is maybe not so much. Well, last year it's the same thing, right? It's a party with racing. Where Michigan Cup's like racing with family get-togethers. It's kind of like Thanksgiving, at Michigan Cup, where it's like Panama Beach at Super Shoe, and and like what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico, right? Just different. It's a different vibe, and so obviously people are relaxed by then because there's no pressure, right? And so. That's why I like the night instructions, because there's not pressure to fit in a box. And but I know they're not everyone's favorite thing. But again, it's autograph night for New Paris, so come on out, give them a shot.
And you can't go wrong with a New Paris Night Destruction. We've said that on the show before. Yeah, they're gonna put on a show every single time. So
and if you want to know, I haven't even looked, and I got to make the graphics. That's what I do Thursday nights. I haven't even looked at their lineup to see what they're racing, because it's one of those that.
Did I see something about a new event?
They try to have new events, because when you're New Paris and you have 4,000 night of destructions a year, right? It's not 4,000, but you have 6 night destructions a year, because their points, they kind of do their own point system too. Like they have a banquet, they have trophies, they have driver recognitions, they have different things. Like they're chasing things too. But when you have so many, you got to change it up, because when we had Chris and Tracy on at the beginning of the year, they said nobody wants to watch the same movie week in and week out, and that's kind of like what weekly racing is. Weekly racing is like the same movie, except the endings change. Like you get alternative endings, but we run out the heat races, 6 laps, you go in the back, 6 laps, you go in the back, 6 laps, you go in the back, 6. The winners change, but the heat is still a 6-lap heat.
Yep.
The feature is still a 20-lap feature. The cast might change a little bit. The things might change a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's still the same movie. Heats, features, we move on to the next week. Heats, features, we move on. Where Night of Destruction, right? People love chaos, and you're going to have your Night of Destruction people who there's probably some who are camping out tomorrow night. They've had people. They had someone from Michigan last time for the July one who literally was there at like 8 Friday night or Thursday night, stayed in their car all night. Hot. It was hot. I don't know why they did that, but they stayed, and they were the first in line to get their spot. And that's their one trip to, I think if I heard right, that's their one trip to New Paris every year is for the July one Night of Destruction. But they came they 4 hours away to go to a New Paris Night of Destruction. And so anyways, you got to change it up, because if it's now, you're not going to take Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I would protest if they took Pac-Man away. You're not going to take Pac-Man away. They're not going to take spectator racing away, because that's the appetizer. 5 o'clock, I call it the appetizer. So you're going to have your spectator race. You're going to have your beat the clock race. You're going to have your burnout contest, because that's your appetizer, right? That people are still coming in because they know about 6 o'clock is when the main stuff happens, right? And if you love spectator racing and you love beat the clock and you love burnout, you're going to be there anyways. But if that's not your jam and you're like, I know the New Paris fire truck kicks everything off, that's when shit hits the fan is when you see the new Paris fire truck. And I did see your comment, by the way, the other day. But I went, everybody wins with that one, Bijou. Everybody wins. But anyways, they know about 6 o'clock, give or take, new Paris fire truck comes out, waters the track, ladies race, right? Like they're going, like ladies race is always going to be the first one up, but it's not like your ladies race that you're going to see at other tracks where the ladies can't hit. These guys hit, and then they'll go race in other ones, and they'll take boys out too. They don't care. They're not. There's no cooties to them. They will take you out if you're in their spot. And but anyways, you got to change it up, because if they have one in April, they have one in May, they have one in July, they have one in August, they have one in September, they have one in October. So if you just did the same thing all the time, like mattress race every single time, snooze fast. Right? Because it's exciting. Like Tony Stanley, right? Flipped in the mattress race. Like sometimes you got to remind the drivers, this is a mattress race. This is a novelty race. This is not a, go out and like this is your final race you're ever racing. But again, it's entertaining. Like they don't hold back.
It is heat of the competition, man. You're in the moment. You there's something to win. You want to win it.
Yeah, no, and well, so right. They do that, but if you just did it all the time, then why should a fan? And I've said this to Stephen Woods, I've said this to Chris and Tracy, I've said this to Andy, I've even talked with him. I said, would they do so many? They need, like Hartford Night of Destruction, Race of Doom. The last Night of Destruction of the year, which is now in October. Race of Doom. That school bus is going to roll out. It's going to have fireworks. It's going to have confetti. It's going to have all these things that are part of that race. So look forward to that. That's a must-see event. So it's how, when you have someone like New Paris who does so many, because they basically do a 3-on-1 off. But rather than the track sitting empty, they do Night of Destruction. So I know people criticize their schedule. It's like they just put something there, but it's 3 weeks on, 1 week off. They could just close the track and have nothing, right? But they race something. And you got to make it special, because if I saw it in April and it's the same exact schedule in May, other than different winners, why should I come?
Mm-hmm.
What's so special about it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then in July, you have the fireworks. Okay, if I like to see stuff blown up, I'll come for the fireworks, right? But are there fireworks at the level of like Kalamazoo's fireworks? They're different levels, right? They're still cool, but you watch a Kalamazoo firework display and a New Paris firework display, they're not the same. They're not in the same ballpark.
Right.
But they're still fireworks, and they're still awesome. Stuff's blown up, but it's right. If I compare just fireworks, it's like, I can miss it. So, but other people love the fireworks, right? So, okay, you come for the fireworks and other things. So you go to July because that's also their biggest. But then if you go to September or August, now it's like, well, if I saw it in May and I saw it, so that's why you got to do special. You got to change it up, because otherwise, why come? I already saw it. I already saw that race. And so that's how they've been able to do that. And they're always coming up with stuff. And so that's where I give them big kudos on that, because they could just rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah. I think that's a lot of my gripe with why I've never really gotten into Night Destructions, because I do kind of feel like it's the same thing over and over again at other places, and it's kind of the same show on repeat, and it got old. And like I said, I've only been to one in New Paris, and it left an impression. So
well, and that's the thing. Like, you're not going to take Pac-Man away, because Pac-Man will never be the same. That's their bread and butter, right? Like if you Drew, Jack, and I, when we put the September Night Destruction together at Kalamazoo last year, right? I obviously stole the Pac-Man from New Paris, and we announced it that way too, that this is it. This is a New Paris event. Even Tabitha was at the June one at Kalamazoo, where we said this is borrowed from New Paris, because credit where credit is due. But Kalamazoo does it different. We don't have an infield that like New Paris does, right? And then Drew Jack brought that moving pole race, and then you built others, because you're going to have a trailer race. You're going to have a car enduro. Like, you have your locks. And so Pac-Man's a lock. Trailer race is a lock. Figure eight drags are a lock, although they know, like, they're kind of stale in a way. Like, how can you make them a little bit more exciting? So I think they're going to do more cars this time, if I heard right or saw right. I could be wrong. But I felt like they were talking about, like, it's not as fun as it used to be, right? Because cars aren't necessarily hitting each other like they used to with the drags. And so they're trying to make it exciting. But that's one thing that I give them credit is they're always trying to, if they can do something a little bit better, they're going to try that. And so, and their competitors can bring ideas too, right? Some will work, some won't work. Some events they have tried and they just didn't work, or what you needed to do it just didn't work. Like the soccer ball one, you know, they couldn't.
I was just going to ask if they've tried soccer.
Yeah, it sounds like the ball popped all the time. Like they just couldn't get the ball to just do what it needed to do. And so there, and now that doesn't mean maybe it did, but it's like, how much money do you really spend on like a prop that if it's failed you a couple times, like, but you know, they last year for October, they did bobbing apples. They did different things. So that's where I encourage you to check out, if you haven't checked out a Night of Destruction yet on at New Paris, give it a shot, give it a chance, you know, bring someone out. In fact, I think it's 15.
Oh, camera's going down.
Yep. I want to say it's $15. So they're now, I'm going to check because I don't want to be wrong. I know the last one went up just because of fireworks.
Oh boy. We're really falling apart here, Lewis.
Oh, this one shows $18. So that's the cheapest Night of Destruction around, because everyone else is $20 to $25. So even at $18 on my race pass, that's what it shows is 18. But for some reason I thought it was 15, but 18 is still, that's still not bad. That's $2 less than what you'll spend on Sunday. And at M40, unless you have your coupon, it's less than what you would spend, you know, at other tracks that are 20 to 25. So, and you get like 17 events. And so, you know, you look at that in M40, you're going to get 6 events, 7 events. And so for $2 less, you get 3 times the events at New Paris. And so, you know, if you're a budget thinker like that, you know, there's that, but definitely check out M40. That's not a knock at M40. That's just, you know, they have a Sunday show. You got to be fast.
Both. Yeah.
you got to be efficient with your Sunday shows. So, you know, they'll have their crazy stuff that Johnny and all them come up with. So if you haven't, which we already said, if you haven't seen a Night of Destruction, Day of Reckoning at M40, go check that one out too. So if you're a Night of Destruction fan, you got 2 this weekend. So, you know, there's no excuse to not watch something get crashed. But again, obviously there's a lot of other races going on Saturday if it doesn't rain out. So just keep fingers crossed that tracks aren't flooded, that we can all get to the track. But obviously check social media in the morning for your favorite tracks just to see, because this weather pattern is here through Sunday.
Yeah, I just saw one down already for tomorrow. So
but which one?
Or for Saturday.
Which one went down?
Plymouth.
Okay.
Weekend, so.
Yep. Yeah, well, it shows 50-60% chance of rain. So I already said I'm not bringing my new camera to New Paris on Saturday. I'm bringing the old camera because I still have the old camera. And I'm like, well, it's already been rained on, and the internal sound, like the external sound will still work if I hook it up to audio, like that'll still work. Because that same day it fell on the roof. So like it's the top part is like broke, but it's not like dysfunctional. It's just, it's cracked in a spot. So like limps. And so I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'm bringing that one, because if it's going to rain and all that, I'm bringing the camera that has already done that July 3rd. So I'm not bringing the brand new one, especially with Clash on Wednesday. We're not risking damaging the new camera. So I already have my backup plan for that, but also do check, because if there's thunderstorms and all that, you know, New Paris will run in rain, but thunderstorms are a different ball game. You know, you're not gonna have people out there with lightning and all that. So again, just check social media. But other than that, I see Tina Lewis. I'm going to check really quick. Kalamazoo plans on having something no one else has had. I guarantee it. Once the I's and dotted and T's are crossed, they will announce it. So that's for September 13th or 12th, whatever that is. Their Night of Destruction of September. And I know Donnie said, because him and I were on the phone last Monday, and he said they're doing things a little different for the Night of Destruction coming up, because they understood that people, you know, competitors want to race. They don't want to watch other people race and do like one event. So they're going to do things a little different for this one in September. So also have that on your schedule too. The unfortunate thing is it's a head-to-head with a New Paris Night of Destruction. So I will be at Kalamazoo for that one, just because I was at Flagger Boy instead of Hot Shoe. So it's kind of a trade-off. And so I figure, I've been at almost every night of destruction now, except for one. In the past, I usually did 3 out of the 6. So I figure it's a trade-off. I'll be at the Kalamazoo one that day, since I was at Flagger Boy instead of Hot Shoe. So that'll come up in September. And so I know they're working on that. They're working on that a little bit, not too much, because obviously you got Clash, Raber's Rumble, and Championship at Kalamazoo still to come, but it's going fast.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's almost like in some ways I'm looking forward to a little bit of time off, but the end of racing season is always weighs heavy on me, and it is unfortunately drawing near.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing to think about, right? Like it's already mid-August.
Mm. Yeah,
And
season championships for the most part are 2 weeks away, pretty much.
yep. And some are locked up. Like I believe at Kalamazoo, since they have a throwout, that Matt LC Jr. already pretty much has that championship locked up because they get a throwout night and he's been there every week. So I know there's some championships that already decided. That's where I was going to do a quick check on the points. But the late model one between Mason and Jared, that one's still in play. Josh Fry, Jerry Pearman, probably still in play with limited late models. Street Stocks, Jeffrey Town and Kyle Ribble, that's still in play. Third place is way too far out. They won't have a chance. Third place in limiteds, I'd have to do the math. But yeah, front wheel drives, they're all LCs. Matthew LC, Matt LC, Scott LC. So an LC will be a champion, but I'm pretty sure with the throwout nights, they've not had a throwout night yet. That pretty much Matthew has that locked up. And then, modifieds don't count. So there's still 3 championships online at Kalamazoo.
Yeah,
New Paris,
I know. Yeah, Charlie and Haley are coming down to the wire at New Paris.
Yeah, that's why Haley didn't race at the Flagger Boy, even though there's a lot of public pressure to make that happen, including day of. But I told her, I think you weren't there. Patrick was. I said I understand.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Absolutely.
She, so obviously Ray Roberts and Rex Evans and Joseph Smith. I mean, there's a lot of even Bailey, not Bailey Powles. He's disqualified with his breakout, but Ray Roberts, Rex Evans, Joseph Smith, obviously on the Hornets, that's still up for grabs. Brandon Staley's probably too far out. Rayber Dirtworks, Chris Harmon probably has that close locked up. Jason Harmon and Bobby Lauder are right on his tail. And then, 21 points separates Charlie and Haley. So that's going to come down to positioning on that street stock feature. So that's going to be exciting. And for Charlie, how awesome too. And Haley, she probably
that's kind of poetic in a way. Like Charlie and Rich have been rivals for so long,
right?
Yeah, and now, but it's a new generation of bowl, and Charlie,
yep,
kind of pulling one back and making a championship run at this stage of his career. So yeah, like you said, it's really cool to see. I'm a big Charlie Hanna guy, and obviously a big bowl fan, so it's cool for me to watch from a bird's eye view.
Even better, think about this. How many point standings do you see father-daughter, father-daughter?
Yeah.
So literally first place, Haley Bowl, dad, Rich, despite a limited race schedule, is in 4th.
This could be that might have never happened in short track racing before, honestly. Father-daughter, father-daughter.
Yeah, Charlie Hanna 2nd, Sage Hanna 3rd. Probably too far out to catch dad. So this year he will beat her in the point standings, so she doesn't get bragging rights that night anymore because she's had it all year for placing ahead of him in the points last year. But again, to have that come down, Haley already has Rookie of the Year locked up in that too. So she already knows she's Rookie of the Year. No one's going to catch her in that. But that's shoe stock race. That's going to come down to positioning. And who's in front of who at the end of the night and how far. Because you figure 21 points, you got fast qualifier points, you got heat points since they do heat races there. At Kalamazoo, they just do 10 points for everybody's participation points for a heat race. So everybody gets 10 points. It's like Oprah handing out points. Everybody gets 10 points if you race in a heat race. So that 10 points doesn't really matter whether you got first or last. 10 is 10. But at New Paris, the points do matter. And in the heat races there. And then Kyle Klein and Bug are in tight lock battle, but William Hamilton right there in 3rd, Noah, they're in 4th. So that's still in play there. So again, there's lots to shake down. And then after trifecta weekend, which you have to wait until September, But Logan and Austin now have first and second. Andrew third. Jeff losing his tire, that really changed that there, because he was in first heading in, and now he
was moving.
He was, oh yeah. He has a freight train coming.
Yeah.
And then, but he still has the lead over Jacob Maynard and Roger for late models. And then the modifieds, they race on the 29th. So that one will be a little clearer going into September for that one. So yeah, points. I mean, they're all heating up all around. Oh, there are a lot of comments. I must have missed something. Rookie of the year, champion the same year would be awesome. Yeah, has that happened before? Do you know, like rookie of the year and champion?
It has to have, but I can't think of an instance right now.
Yeah, that would be awesome to see what that is. And then I won't be.
That would definitely be more of an old school thing, though, for sure.
Yeah, so that would be something to see, to look into history. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tina Lewis would have the breakdown on. So check the Kalamazoo page for B feature points and C feature points, because I only went with the A feature. That's the thing with my race passes, you can't really break it down too much, and so I'm like, I don't even guess anymore on the B and the C. Like, even when they first explained it to me at Springport and how they figure out, I'm like, sounds great. So like, I'm an advocate for the ABC format, obviously, but when it comes to the points thing, I understand why people are like, no, because that is a big, that's a big rock to have to figure out. Anthony Rant, I will be at New Paris.
Now I'll be at M40.
Yeah, but obviously, if New Paris for some reason were to pull a plug early, they usually don't, but let's say they did, and Galesburg still shows green light, because there's more rain in Indiana than there has been in Michigan. I mean, it's obviously rained here, but they've gotten like pummeled. That Galesburg would be a backup just because with the Van Avery race, but otherwise, yeah, I'm at Tina Lewis. She took over Galesburg this year because they lost their tower staff. And so Tina got in at first she was helping, and now her and Kim Beebe are now the big kahunas in the tower at Galesburg. So they go back to back. They do Fridays and Saturdays, but they're both incredible. If you've not met any of them, you need to meet Tina and Kim. They're both awesome people. So, and Kim's funny. I can't tell a Kim story right now, but it's funny. There's a funny one. Yeah. From Super Shoe. It's a Super Shoe story. So, but they're definitely awesome people to see. So other than that, we stayed on a little bit longer than what we were even planning, but
not sure about Super Shoe yet, Jason. That's too far out for me to know if I'm gonna be there yet or not. Lewis will be there.
I'm going week by week at this point. That's where obviously Super Shoe is on my schedule, on my calendar, but right now, I'm just kind of going week by week. I'm like, because my whole August, my schedule that I had put out way long ago has already changed a lot. I mean, because I had Indianapolis Speedrome. I've been trying to make it down there, but now that's New Paris's championship night. So obviously I'll be at New Paris because that takes priority. And then I was going to be at somewhere August 29th. Oh, Galesburg's Night of Destruction. I was going to do both this year, but now that's Sizzler.
Yeah.
So unless something drastically changes with Sizzler, that's where I'll be August 29th. So yeah, it's I need like 5 of me so to be everywhere. But other than that, like I said, I know we stayed on a little bit longer, but I want everyone to remember, again, just thank you for the 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got the notification today. Congratulations on 4,000. Don't know when it happened. It might have, because it's already when I looked, I'm like, well, that says 4,033. So how old is this 4,000? But again, thank you to everyone for supporting. Like I said, I am just as bad about subscribing to people's YouTube channels, and so I get it when people don't subscribe, because I'm just as guilty and bad at it too. But again, thank you for all your support towards that, because again, it's not for me, right, Buju? From day one, it's not for me, right? Because I'm not financially doing well at this at all, right? So it's not for me, but that's more exposure for this show, Monday Night Rewind, right? It's exposure for New Paris, Galesburg, Kalamazoo, Springport. Like, it's helping those tracks. It's helping put those memories out there. There's first time wins. There's historic names who've carried like onboard cameras and all that deal, and some drivers who we've lost. Terry Klein, Rodney Russell, right? We had cameras with them at some point. So even when you miss them, you can still go back and watch them. And so
I only have four wins to my name, and Top Row Racing Media has 2 of those. So yeah, I mean it does mean a lot. I mean, there's no record of those otherwise. So
no, and and there's over 3,000 videos on there, because again, when I look today, I'm like, just imagine if I were still doing the individual uploads like I used to, it'd probably be over 4,000 now. But I'm glad I don't do that anymore, because I don't like it worked. But this whole full program thing, start to finish, that is so much easier. And
it's also it's for me, selfishly, it's nice just to be able to be laying in bed at night, throw it on, and I wake up 5 hours later and they're still racing.
Well, even if you go to the playlist, like if you start with the playlist, like the 2026 season, and just have it play one to the other. I mean, you can
binge watch Kalamazoo for
and hours. That's awesome. Hours. Yeah. So I try to, I did wash a lot of playlists from I did scrub a lot over the winter, as I just try to make it easier, because the way I was doing it before, like, it made sense. And I know you're a big proponent at that at first, like having individual classes, which they still are, but it's not like Kalamazoo street stocks, Corrigan Oil street stocks. Like, got rid of that list. It was just too much. It was hard to find things on the YouTube. And so that's where, again, full programs are listed. I did change the link now, where it's toprowracingmedia.com/library. So if you go to that link instead of full-programs-links, stupid, just library. If you go there, literally on the website from 2022 to 2026, you can find every full program I have, which includes Montville Speedway, its last big event from that October. I didn't do full programs for South Bend or Plymouth, just because I'm not really partnered with them anymore. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. But with Hartford, I went back and did that whole season, since I was their videographer that year. Super Shoe, Michigan Cup are all together now. So it's the same for the rest. All the clashes are together now. So you can watch Clash. You can watch 25 Clash, 24 Clash, and 2023 Clash all on Top Row. So other than that, like I said, I know we've stayed on longer than what we planned, but it was a good conversation, though. Once again, lots to talk about. But other than that, don't forget, Monday, come on back. We have the rewind again. Randy Maggio is confirmed. So if you want to learn a little bit about Ohio racing and their huge shows, come on back. But otherwise, you have been listening to the Thursday Night Throttle, presented by Federated Auto Parts and ELH Detailing. It's time to turn left. I'm like, I don't even know my tagline.
We need a double Irish there for a second.
He did that so well.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting it.
Like I said, it was in a creepy way, but not like a negative creepy way. One of those, like, he really listens. Like he really listens, because he had the mannerism down. He had everything down. I'm like, man, that was really good. You should just come do our closing all the time. So, but that's where Dalton, he was a good reminder at Springport why, like, okay, this is why even Thursdays I was hesitant to upload them, because I'm like, by the time someone listens to it, is it outdated, right? Especially the schedule portion. Tonight, not so much, because we're going to do like a big schedule. We did a lot more talking, but it's like, is it outdated by the time? So is it relevant to have on Spotify? But definitely subscribe. If you have Spotify, it's free. Subscribe, because that helps. Spotify keeps telling me to remind people that, and I keep forgetting to remind people that. But you can get it on Spotify. So if you know someone on Spotify who doesn't do YouTube and doesn't do Facebook, it's on Spotify. I've been waiting a couple days to upload them, just so Facebook and YouTube get the first big hit. But excuse me again. But other than that, Spotify is there. Our subscriber count is going up on that. So keep doing Spotify. You can listen to it in the car. Yeah. Like I listen to Busted Open Radio.
Yeah. I listen to podcasts at work all day. Yep. So yeah.
Yep. So and that's where Dalton, he listens to it at work and other things. So you don't need to see our faces or anything. You can definitely still hear.
It's definitely an audio. It works as an audio show just fine.
Yeah. And, but obviously, if you but on Spotify you could do the video version too.
Yeah.
To my understanding. Yep. So wherever you find it, you're definitely helping support us. And again, it's really fun to see how far like the Monday Night Rewinding especially has come. So Other than that, we'll do the tag run. Just try. I'm like, why did I could just keep drawing a blank? But I'm like, I'm ready for a nap. That's what I'm ready for. But it's time to. It's almost time to. Oh wait, no, I did it wrong. All right, Buju, that's it. See, now I got Dalton in my head going. That's not right. All right, Buju, it's almost time to turn left and go fast because
we'll see you at the races.
See everyone at the races.